target. How I got caught in the crosshairs of the plot to bring down President Trump. He's the man who had the infamous wine bar chat in London with Alexander Downer that some say led to the Russia hoax investigation against Donald Trump for being a supposed agent of Moscow. George Papadopoulos joins me now on the U.S. Report. George, thanks for coming on this evening. Now, Donald Trump is officially the presumptive Republican presidential nominee at this point, and the stage is set for a Biden v. Trump rematch in November. No surprises, but now that he is the nominee, I want to ask you, with your experience with this sort of thing, do you expect that behind the scenes there will be forces again trying to stop his path to victory?
Well, James, thanks so much for having me. And what I really think we're witnessing, not only in the United States but around the world, is the greatest political comeback in history. And there are, no matter what political forces might be at bay, I don't think that they could really stop the MAGA movement and its vast reverberations throughout the United States. We can't forget that over 75 million Americans voted for President Trump. And the reason that I believe that he did secure the nomination the way that he did is because he's running on charisma, ideas, and he's forward-looking instead of this dark, pessimistic, and almost violent approach that Biden has towards over 75 million Americans in the world, in the United States. So you could really understand how diametrically opposed Trump and Biden are today regarding both the description and their vision for the United States moving forward, especially this election. So I don't think there's anything that could stop President Trump from winning this election because the people want him to win. His approval is soaring. He's raising robust sums of money. And people see right through these various maneuvers that both the Democrats and even some in the Republican Party are committing against him.
So do you think that he is, I guess you could say, not unstoppable, but unswampable?
Well, I think that's absolutely why he is having the type of impact this election the same way that he did in 2016. Because let's look at the facts. The factors that he's once again facing are so similar to 2016 when I was on his campaign. He's facing overt lawfare, except in 2016 it was more subtle, and he was facing these establishment swamp-like candidates in the Republican Party that had unsummable, that had incredible amount of money from super PACs and various other donors, and it once again highlighted that no amount of money can really stop a candidate as long as that candidate has the support and the will of the people. So I really do think that if you want an unswampable candidate, Donald Trump was your man in 2016, 2020, and in this election, certainly.
And George, I want to get your reaction to the reports that came out a couple of weeks ago that revealed that the CIA and foreign intelligence agencies did, in fact, illegally target 26 associates of Donald Trump before the 2016 Russia collusion claims. What was your reaction when you saw that news? And did you feel like there was some vindication for your story?
Well, I felt initially that it was a profound and devastating indictment for not only the U.S. intel agencies, but of course, Allied intelligence. And this is something that I've been speaking about since probably 2018, when many people thought this was some sort of rogue FBI operation. I always said that, of course, there was international intrigue behind this story. And also, I think that it's total and absolute vindication, not only for myself at a personal level, but of course, the Trump campaign and President Trump. And I think it's going to have new deleterious consequences should President Trump get reelected for certain bilateral relationships.
Indeed, indeed. Well, we'll see how that plays out. But also, I just want to ask you about this, too, because FBI Director Chris Wray was grilled at a congressional hearing this week. He refused to confirm whether or not he was aware that, in fact, an audio recording existed of Joe Biden discussing classified documents. Have a listen to this.
Are you aware that there's an audio recording of Joe Biden saying to his ghostwriter in February of 2016, quote, "I just found all the classified stuff downstairs," end quote? Are you aware of that audio recording?
I would just respectfully refer you to the special counsel.
No, I'm asking you, are you aware as director of the FBI? You're either aware or you're not.
I'm aware. Am I aware of what now?
Whether the audio exists of Joe Biden saying in February 2017, quote, "I just found all the classified stuff downstairs," end quote, to his ghostwriter.
Again, I'm just going to refer to the special counsel and his testimony and his report.
It sounds like you might be aware of it then.
George, your reaction to another one of these so-called letter agencies essentially trying to cover for Joe Biden and for the Democrats?
I think that there's nothing more corrosive or dangerous to our way of life and our functioning as a republic than a two-tier justice system. And what you just witnessed was Exhibit A of a two-tier justice system in which there's now a profound perception among a wide segment of the American population which believes that the FBI is essentially covering up for various crimes committed not only by the Biden family, President Biden, and even high-profile Democrats, while on the other hand, you have the Department of Justice debasing itself from historic norms to then go out and indict a former president, raid his home, and put him through these various kangaroo court situations while he's leading in the polls in the middle of an election. So it's no surprise. Unfortunately, conservatives in America have been dealing with this type of weaponization of justice. It's certainly something that moving forward, Donald Trump is going to certainly have to address, especially regarding his cabinet picks.
He's talking about a bloodbath for America. It's laid out in the terms of it. And these idiots on Twitter, these idiots on cable news, these idiots on Sunday shows going, well, presidents, he was talking only about the auto industry, and this is one more. It's just bullshit. Let me say that at 6:15 a.m. It's just bullshit. He knew what he was doing. We're not stupid. Americans aren't stupid. He was talking about a bloodbath. Sometimes a bloodbath means a bloodbath. And when he finishes by saying, and that's just going to be the least of it, seriously, these people may be stupid. We're not.
They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling and trying to catch me right.
It's all bullshit.
Welcome to Unsanctioned.
Booty, 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 booty.
I spy with my little eye. Booty! Hold on. What? Okay.
Have you met Pete's husband, Jason?
I pledge my heart. To the rainbow. The not so typical gay camp. One camp. Full of pride. Indivisible. With affirmation and equal rights for all. Watch your heads.
Okay, now I'm pissed.
Yeah, me too, John.
I mean, what a waste. I mean, there was so much in that show that it's like, it's hard to even address it all. Number one, Joe saying that he's not stupid. I thought that was the whole purpose he was there, was to put somebody stupid enough to say the things that he does. I didn't realize that he was not going for that. I thought that was like his whole shtick was that he was stupid.
Yeah.
But what he says is pretty stupid.
His whole shtick is he's a beta male to his wife. So.
Well, I mean, come on, listen. Trump said that the automotive industry was going to be in a bloodbath if Biden wins again. Yeah. What is wrong with that?
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.
Every industry is going to be in a bloodbath, and he was not talking about any violence. But it doesn't matter. The truth does not matter to these crazy liberals. Leftists love lies. That's what they love. They love lies. They love to manipulate people who are really dumb. And those are the people that seem to vote in that direction all the time. It's just plain, he's a nut job.
Right? John, people are waking up, and every time that the news media does these things, create these invisible hoax or try to twist people's words into something they didn't really say, people lose less and less
and they did that exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they did, right? So he says one thing, The media took it. They took a snippet of it. And then they started passing out, oh, Trump says bloodbath, Trump said bloodbath, Trump said blood. And then people started showing the whole clip. And he was like very specific about what he was talking about, the automotive industry. I mean, come on, we can't trust. Oh, that's funny. I forgot to bring it up in the early show. So listen, look at this. This is a little business card size piece of paper. And I don't remember where I got this. But essentially, this is the students' commitment to scholastic journalism. That's what this little piece of paper is, okay? So many of you who are student journalists, you'll probably recognize this. But here's what it says. As a student journalist, I will be honest, fair, and courageous in gathering, reporting, and interpreting information. I will always remember that certain responsibilities come with my right to free expression. Among these are being accurate, being clear, identifying all sources, reporting fairly and fully, never plagiarizing. Democrats love to plagiarize. Yeah, well, they love to not do any of these things. Providing voice to the voiceless, providing diverse coverage, admitting mistakes, being accountable to myself, my publication, and my readers. And then you're supposed to sign it. So this is what I studied. This is why I'm always so pissed at the media, because this is what I studied when I was a journalist. Right? And I adhered to these. I won many journalism awards. I won a Keith L. Ware Award. I won a Pacemaker Award. I won many journalism awards. And I followed. This is why I'm so active. This is why I'm so loud. And this is why I'm so just full about it. Because I know what their job is. This is what you live up to as a journalist. And they simply don't. That guy's a joke. That's why I always thought his whole shtick was being stupid. Because come on, you avoid these things like crazy. Yeah. And for anybody to believe them for even a moment is just a damn shame.
It's liberal propaganda. That's
it's propaganda. Propaganda. I can't believe it's basically a psyop, like they always say. They're basically trying to manipulate you. Now it's out in the open. But Americans, here's the thing: if you fall for it this time, it's on you. It's on you. The information is out there. We all know that they're a bunch of liars. This is the greatest and most recent example of what kind of liars the media are. And if you fall for it this time, that's on you. Yeah. Okay? That's on you.
You had 4 years of the last Trump administration and all throughout the Biden administration to see how they lie, how they manipulate the news, how they tell you things that they want you to know and don't tell you things they don't want you to. It's just, learn from it.
It's all a giant hoax. Like, I'm expecting at any point in time, at any point in time, they should be like, kidding. We're just kidding, everybody. We're just kidding. Sorry about that. We're sorry that the joke was so long. Sorry that it had so many bad consequences. We're all kidding, though. Right? So sorry about that. Please enjoy President Trump. President Trump has been the president all along. Biden was just a joke.
You think that their plummeting ratings would tell them something, but they just don't care.
I guess
the agenda desperate. Is more important than the ratings.
I think they care. They're just desperate at this point. They're desperate to hold on to power because they know nobody wants to be that dictator like in Haiti, right? That's getting thrown out of office and gets beheaded in the street. That nobody wants to be that guy. So they got to fight. They got to fight to the end. But here's the thing. That's why we can never let up as patriots.
That's right.
So anyways, man, that guy, he's outrageous.
Pete Buttigieg's husband butchering our national anthem. It
the
makes
pledge,
me sick to
the
my
pledge,
stomach.
yeah.
The pledge.
But
I'm sorry.
Forget it. Even the pledge is not. Not only is he desecrating our sacred pledge, but he's also desecrating a whole bunch of children. Yeah. What kind of crazy? The CDF should be like Children and Family Services should be right there on top of that, getting rid of him, throwing him in jail for grooming and abusing those kids. Come on, what is this world coming to? What is this world coming to? That is the saddest thing I've seen in a long time.
I'm sure they butchered the national anthem too, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
Yeah, certainly they.
But yes, the pledge. It's unbelievable, John. It's unbelievable that parents would send their kids to that function to have them do that.
For 30 pieces of political pieces of silver, Yeah. It's just, God, it's terrifying. It's horrendous.
Yeah. All right. So welcome to Unsanctioned America. This is episode number 221.
Yep.
Yeah.
March 21st, 2024. And I'm school board member John Arguello, and this is my good friend, citizen Tom Lord. We got a lot to talk about. Let's go over what we're going to talk about on this show, which I have right here sometimes. Okay, so we already saw the different visions between Trump and Biden. That's a big thing. You're stupid if you want Trump, says Joe. We just saw that. We talked about that. Secretary Booti's husband shamelessly grooms kids. Man, I wouldn't trust Secretary Booti to fix anything in my house. No. Barbecue in control of S-hole Haiti. Trudeau advocates life in prison for speech crimes. A grumpy old man yells. Full-haired McCain fails to do the right thing. Trump sues ABC and liberalopolis for defamation. New York violates the sacred American property rights that we all thought we had. All while New York loses control over crime. Lack of oxygen leads to wacky stuff in Colorado. That's what's happening, right? That makes the most sense.
Yeah,
that was just my logical conclusion.
Yeah.
And Tyson, the chicken company, sells out big, but not out of chicken. And more on this episode of Unsanctioned America. So let's say a quick prayer, and then we're going to go right down into the show. Lord, we are eternally grateful to be American citizens, to be born in this country, to be able to live with the rights that are provided by you, extended to us by you, not by any government, not by any other man. No matter how much the media tries to tell us that it's the government that gives us our rights, we know where they come from. And we know they cannot be taken away because of that. So we pray for every patriot to be stilled, to be fired up, to be engaged, to be paying attention, to be awakened, and to be strong for their country, because our country needs it today more than ever before. In your son's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
All right, let's get into it. What do we got first?
News, John. All right, so first up, John, this is breaking news. We just actually saw this a little bit earlier, but our border is being overrun. They stormed the border in El Paso, Texas. They overwhelmed the National Guard. The National Guard was not allowed to do anything. We have the video of this, John, and I'm going to cue that up. I'm going to try and get that working here. Let me make it big for everybody. This is going to make you sick. I mean, it's unbelievable.
This is a disaster. This is a disaster. I mean, if this doesn't outrage you, then you're somebody who doesn't care about our country.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
I mean, what else do you need? I mean, you talk about an invasion, that kind of looks like an invasion to me, right?
Yeah.
Someone said earlier, why aren't they opening fire on these people? Well, I mean, first of all, I doubt they're carrying live ammo. Your command structure gives you live ammo, or they don't give you live ammo. I doubt that they're carrying live ammo in this situation. Or you may have one round, and that's it, right?
Wow.
So they're put in a very precarious situation. It looks like any of them could be harmed at any minute there.
Yeah.
So if one of those soldiers gets injured, they go and they have to struggle fighting with the VA to get any kind of benefit for years and years and years and years. And the only thing that they ever hear from the VA is, no, we don't want to do this. No, we don't want to do that. No, we don't want to do this. And they're put into the hellhole, which is socialized medicine. If they harm one of those other people there, one of those illegals crossing the border, then they go to a military prison. And that's not justice in our country. That's absolutely not the type of justice that we expect in the United States. Joe Biden is literally surrendering our country to the Chinese, to lobbyists, to special interests, and to now illegal aliens. And we're seeing the demise of our country, one that we hope will survive another year until Trump is elected president.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And you can see in the video when the illegals come up to the National Guard, they put their hands up, and they're doing that in case somebody did shoot them. that would be a news footage, and it would go out there and make our military and our National Guard look bad. But I'm all for it. I mean, open fire on them. You know, they're trying to overwhelm. They're trying to break our law and come into our country illegally. I mean, and in those numbers, I mean, if I'm one of those guys and I'm holding a rifle, I don't know. It's just it's scary. But you're right, John. He is giving up our country. And this is all happening under his watch. He could do something about it right now, but he does nothing. He does nothing.
Well, he caused it.
Yeah.
It's not that he's not doing anything, like in reaction to something that happened on his watch. He caused it to happen. This was not happening under Trump. How is it that you go from like a year where you have the most secure border that we've had in decades to where they were welding the doors open, literally, not even a joke. They're welding the doors open, and people are just flowing across, right? And these are not like the doctors and lawyers like we were talking about. Not that lawyers are great people. We know a lot of lawyers that are not. But we're talking about they're not sending their best and brightest. They're sending the people that they're letting out of their prisons. Why would they have to have a prison problem? Why not make it our problem? And that's why you have so many people being raped, robbed, people squatting. There's that video. I don't know. That's too bad we didn't get it up on show in time. But there's a video of
the illegal talking about squatting, and
yes,
that's going to be his job. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. This is not the United States of America that I grew up in. Certainly, it's not the United States of America that so many people fought over. Your dad, right? I mean, this is not the United States of America that we want, even, right? For the future, for our kids. So why is Joe Biden doing this? I think that's the important thing. We need to ask why Joe Biden is sacrificing and surrendering our country, and then what are we going to do about it?
Yeah, you know, and John, it's like you said, yes, absolutely. He caused this. He made this happen. He rescinded all the orders that President Trump had in place to prevent this from happening. But also, he could do something about it right now, and he chooses not to. All right, so that's for people, if you're a liberal that's watching and you're upset with the border and what's going on, you're just curious. President Biden could do something about it right now, and he's not. And he sees what's happening, not just with our southern border in Texas and Arizona, but look at what's happening with Haiti. And we're about to get into Haiti, but, it's just sickening, John.
Yeah, it really is.
Do something.
It's sickening that you...
And nothing's going to be done until we get President Trump back into office, so...
Yeah. And imagine if he weren't. Imagine if he wasn't. Imagine if we actually had Joe Biden for another 4 years. What else could he do?
Yeah.
What else could he do? Are we going to leave Joe Biden in office until even Barack Obama's sick of him? I mean, what else can we do? We can't. We won't survive 4 more years of Joe Biden.
No.
We'll all be poor. We'll all be homeless. We'll have basically we'll be the Chinese, and the Chinese will be rich.
Yep.
Right? We'll be living like a third world country, and they'll be living like they're the biggest country in the world.
I'm praying that people have seen enough, have had enough. I've had enough.
Yeah, I just don't know.
I mean,
I just don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. But I can tell you this, John, from the election numbers that I saw on Tuesday night here in Florida, and that's where we're from. If you're watching from someplace other than Florida, the numbers did not look too good. I don't know if people felt like President Trump had this in the bag. But,
you mean for turnout?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that we all knew who was going to win this election, right? That wasn't a question. And the Democrats, you have to remember, the only people that voted were Republicans, right? Democrats didn't even come out. And we talked about that in the last show. And DeSantis absolutely just blew the Democrats out of the water, calling them dumb. He literally called them dumb. Why?
Well,
because
they were.
They were. They canceled their primary, which means that in all the municipal elections, no Democrats came out to vote because Biden wasn't on the ballot.
Yeah.
Because they were afraid that Biden was going to get embarrassed in the primary. So they'd rather lose 46% of their seats than to have Biden embarrassed. I mean, I guess those seats weren't important. They don't care about the city race. They were surrendering them the way that Biden surrendered Afghanistan so that we could so that he could have a fight in the general election. You know,
I always thought that Nikki Fried couldn't get any worse, but
she's the best. I love her.
She's the best. I mean, for
I love her.
She's the greatest.
She's the greatest thing that could have ever happened to the Republican Party ever. I hope that she's reappointed for make her empress of the Democrats for the National Democratic Party.
Yes.
All right. Give her a raise and promote her. Please promote her. Make her chief of all things Democrat.
Yeah.
Because
that would be great.
Yeah, she's a younger female Biden. Everything she touches turns to crap. I mean, that's exactly who we want in charge of the Democratic Party. She's horrendous.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, hey.
It resulted in some huge wins for the Republicans.
You know who would have been better than her?
No.
What's the guy's name who was toes down in the hotel room with all the crack? Gillum. Gillum would have been.
Yeah.
Andrew Gillum should be vice chair or chair of the party. I'm down for that.
Is he still in politics at all? Is he still around?
I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I can imagine what he's doing, but I'm sure he's up to the same old things. You know, I would guess he's up to the same old shenanigans.
Doing some crack and
toes down.
Yeah. All right. So we mentioned we were going to talk about Haiti, and you know. When we talk about Haiti, you have to remember that billions was invested in Haiti since 2010, and that was the earthquake they had, and this country has not improved, at all. The U.S. has committed
it's gotten worse.
Another $333 million to help stabilize Haiti during the current crisis. So that's what, Biden has committed to Haiti to fix it. Here's a picture of Barbecue. That's the man who's running Haiti now.
Man, I feel so bad for Haiti. This is what a shame. This is what's called technically a failed state. It's pretty much like Afghanistan, but with nice weather. There's no government. The Taliban is not a governing body. They're just warlords, and it's really sad to see in our hemisphere. There's no reason for it. They have a great history where it was founded by slaves that gained their freedom, and then they fought for independence. Great. And what happened since then?
Yeah.
Nothing good. So it's really bad. It's a really terrible situation there. It's terrible.
When we talk about throwing money at Haiti again, and we're throwing $333 million, we got to look at
the history.
Yeah, the history. We're throwing money for these renewed initiatives to help rebuild Haiti. Okay, but where is this money going? Really, where is it going? Because Haiti received about $13.5 billion in the years following a devastating 2010 earthquake, thanks to an international effort led by the U.S. and the United Nations. Around 120% of the country's GDP at that time. They never rebuilt Port-au-Prince.
125% of the country's GDP. 125. So 100%. Plus 25% more of what they generate on their own in terms of value. No. Okay? That's how much they were given. Zero happened. A lot of that money, I think, was put through the Clinton Foundation, right?
Yeah,
after the
absolutely.
Okay, I'm sure that went to, who knows, that probably built Epstein's pool on Epstein Island.
It is close to there.
Probably, right?
So, they never rebuilt Port-au-Prince, and this city does not have a sanitation system. They don't have basic plumbing and electricity, no infrastructure.
This is a desperate
They're walking up and down dirt roads everywhere. It's just, it's a sad place.
Yeah, it's one of the few countries worse than Nicaragua, which is where my family's from, like in terms of their governance. It's absolutely just... It's mind-boggling how bad they can... Well, you know what? It's not for us. If you live in Osceola County, then this is pretty much what we go through here. Because if it weren't for the fact that we have a federal government and a state government that oversees these local governments, right, that wouldn't put these people in jail, if you take these county commissioners in Osceola County and you put them in Haiti, it would probably be even worse. So, you know what? Let's go trade Barbecue for Brandon Arrington. Would you? I'd be willing to make that trade. Let's bring over the warlord Barbecue from Haiti and trade and send Brandon Arrington over there. I think that's a fair pick, I think.
I don't think Brandon would last 2 minutes over there.
Brandon wouldn't last 30. He wouldn't last a plane ride.
But, after the earthquake, John, in 2010...
He wouldn't be adopting dogs. He'd be eating them.
The NFL Players Association partnered with the Clinton-Bush Haiti Fund, all right? And it was called the Clinton Haiti Fund.
Yep.
They raised a lot of money All right, and they started to allocate it out. Other countries came in, started to allocate a lot of money. You would think that the long-term goal was to rebuild the city of Port-au-Prince and the surrounding areas that were impacted by that earthquake. But it never happened, John.
Yeah, of course it didn't happen.
Happened.
And what happened? I mean, unless the gold at the end of the rainbow was underneath Clinton's desk with an intern, the Clintons were never going to make it happen. They were never going to make it happen. You had to surround that vision, that mission, with a whole bunch of 20-year-old interns in order for Bill Clinton to make that happen. And you'd have to it'd have to be a cauldron of bat wings and frog legs and and who knows, gopher teeth and stuff like that in order for Hillary Clinton to be involved with it. So they just who knows what they did with that money, but
more like adrenochrome, but we know what you're saying.
That's how she gets her flying powers.
Yeah, she stays youthful, although she doesn't look very youthful anymore.
I'm not sure it's working for her. She needs to change the formula up. She needs to stop eating bat wings and start eating chicken toes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but to throw another $333 million at Haiti. You can throw all the money in the world at Haiti, and it's not going to change.
No, it's not right now.
It's not going to change.
Okay.
They don't want it bad enough. So moving on, John.
We're running late already.
Yeah, wow, we're already at the 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
Canada
is also like Haiti. Canada's like the Haiti of North America. All right. Canada might be the place. Who would ever think that you'd rather live in Mexico than Canada, right? But Trudeau made that happen. Trudeau made it happen.
So his social media bill here, it can imprison people for life over speech crimes. And, it's ridiculous, John. This Canadian
Trudeau
law
needs to go to jail for life for looking like Fidel Castro, not just physically, but also politically.
They say that he's his son.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see a DNA test.
This social media act or law will make platforms safer, so they say. Introduced late last month, the Online Harms Act, or Bill C-63, would allow judges to imprison adults for life if they advocate for genocide. Introduced late last month, the Online Harms Act, or Bill C-63, would allow judges to imprison adults for... What? I just said that, didn't I? Okay, never mind. The law would also allow a provincial judge to impose house arrest and a fine if there were reasonable grounds to believe a defendant will commit an offense.
Wow, so they can put you in jail in advance of the crime in Canada now.
One Wall Street Journal columnist likened this to the 2002 film Minority Report. So, this is what's going on up in Canada. So glad that I live in the United States and was born in the United States.
Thank God. Thank God. I'd hate to be Canadian or Australian, any of those countries that thought they were free pre-COVID, right?
You're not.
You're not free. You're not free. And that's why, they send all their best people would leave. But hey, listen, I wanted to say a quick shout out to Tony. Thank you, Tony, for watching. Thank you, Julie, for watching on this channel. I know that there's people watching on you got people watching on all the different channels, but those were the two I was looking at on my phone right now.
Awesome.
So.
Miss you, Tony. You need to come out to the FRA meeting.
Nah, I know, man. He's a Disney-going machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else?
But I know he loves his job, so.
Yeah, he does. He loves Disney.
I'm happy for him.
And he loves his kids. That's a good man right there. He's got some sons, and he's all over his sons, and he's raising good men. He's a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you talked about the old man, the angry old man.
Angry, yeah.
Talking about socialism. Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders. That guy is old.
He doesn't like to be asked about his 32-hour work week act, John.
He doesn't like to be asked questions at all. He likes to be left alone.
Watch this video.
Can I talk to you about the 32-hour work week? It seems like Fox Business. It seems like Democrats want businesses to be taxed more, pay their workers.
Really? Is that what you think?
pay their workers.
Excuse me.
I didn't get to ask a question.
Okay,
what a prince.
Senator.
You want to hold it? Okay. We held a hearing on a 32-hour work week because what we have seen is that over the last 50 years, despite a huge increase in worker productivity, almost all of the new wealth has gone to the top 1%, while 60% of the people are living paycheck to paycheck. Many of our people are exhausted. We work the longest hours of any people in the industrialized world.
we're working paycheck to paycheck because of inflation and the Biden administration.
And apparently, he's not bothered by that. Inflation's no problem for him, but you put in a little bit of overtime, and then he loses his mind.
It's all because of the top 2%, John.
World, I think it's time for a shortened work week.
Could I ask you a question about that? It seems like Democrats want businesses to be taxed more, pay their workers more, lower prices, and now we'll pay people not to work.
You know what I would like to see?
How are businesses going to survive that? That's the question. How can businesses survive all of those proposals?
When Mr. Bezos pays an effective tax rate lower than the average worker, I think we have a real problem in our tax system. I think that billionaires have got to start paying their fair share of taxes. Thank you.
There you go.
Man, why so defensive?
It's always the same thing with him, John.
It is, right? Like he's like, oh, I want to be that kind of old. Because here's the thing, he does have charisma though, right?
Yeah.
Like he's entertaining to watch. He's like quick on his feet. He's not like Biden. He's not senile.
Can I talk to you about
he's
the 32-hour?
He's just like a grumpy old guy.
Yeah.
Right? And so I mean, I like watching him and like his quirky old self or whatever. But you don't want a senator who's a sideshow. No. And that's what he is, right? Yeah. He's a communist sideshow for the political world where he's the only he's not really the only socialist, but he's like he's an actual
head of
socialist,
the class.
right?
He is the grand poobah of the socialists in America.
But he seems almost harmless, right? He looks like your old grumpy grandpa, right?
Right.
But when you look at the squad, who are also socialists, they're a bunch of morons. They look like dangerous. Those are the thugs that you wouldn't want to see on the street.
Right.
What's the bald-headed one? She might lose her seat. Cory Bush, isn't it?
Yeah, Cory Bush.
Right. And then which is the one that's the niece of Einstein? AOC, the niece of Einstein. I mean, come on, these people are a threat, and they're not a threat that they're going to hurt anybody. They're a threat that they're going to stumble into power at some point and make us all miserable for the rest of our lives. That's the real threat of the Democratic Party, and that's sad to say, right? Yeah. No longer is it like the working class, the Joe and Jane kind of American citizen representation. Now it's like transgender, chemical castration, and nothing but BS.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, God help you.
I forgot to say, somebody commented last week, stop talking over the videos. We were talking all over that video. Here's the thing, listen, it's hard to watch these things. This is our first time watching them normally. Like, we'll watch the video, like I said, we prepare for the show. So, it's like, hey, the commentary, right? Gotta have the commentary.
Yeah. So. I mean, and I try to pause it. I try to pause it if we're going to make a comment, but,
Mute us. Mute the show and just read the captions.
All right, John. So another white-haired old man came out, and
this is John McCain, but with a full head of hair. This is not a real Republican. We've discovered.
Yeah.
All right. We were all duped by him, and this is not a good guy in my opinion. He's not a good guy at all.
No. Here he is. This is what he had to say.
I appreciate the question, and it should come as no surprise that I will not be endorsing Donald Trump this year. Look, I'm incredibly proud of the record of our administration. It was a conservative.
What an idiot. How do you say both of those two things in the same sentence?
And saw conservatives appointed to our course in a more peaceful world. But that being said, during my presidential campaign, I made it clear that there were profound differences between me and President Trump on a range of issues.
You're loyal to the establishment, and he's loyal to the American people.
Constitutional duties that I exercised on January the 6th. I mean, as I have watched his candidacy unfold, I've seen him walking away from our commitment to confronting the national debt. I've seen him starting to shy away from a commitment to the sanctity of human life. And this last week, his reversal on getting tough on China and supporting our administration's effort to force a sale of ByteDance's TikTok.
Why do you think he did that? Why do you think he had that reversal on that before we go, sir?
Well, I can't speculate on it, but what I can tell you is is that in each of these cases, Donald Trump is pursuing and articulating an agenda that is at odds with the conservative agenda that we governed on during our 4 years. And that's why,
first of all, he says ours, like if he had anything to do with the policy that was going on. That's all him. That was all Trump. Trump was making those things happen. And if Trump has a change of course, you think we're going to trust Mike Pence to tell us why? Or what the conservative? Why wasn't he conservative enough to save our country when he had the control in his hands? He was a coward. He's a coward. He was like the worst kind of soldier, the one that instead of firing his weapon, he hides behind the rock, right? And he lets everybody else do the job. That's the kind of guy he is. I'll never respect anything that he has to say. He's just like he reminds me of McCain on the well of the Senate, in the well of the Senate, and he voted no, all publicly, loudly. He said no when they were going to repeal Obamacare, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, wow, did we just witness that?" That's what he did.
Yeah.
So he failed to rise to the occasion. He has zero credibility. He's a man of words, not a man of conviction.
Notice the first thing he talks about is January 6th, and he has to stick to that because he knows what he did that day. He knows what he did that day.
He sold out.
We saw him fist bump Nancy Pelosi. Come on, bro. And as far as the abortion issue, President Trump left it up to the states, which is the way it should be, okay? And as far as TikTok and ByteDance, we know that the majority of TikTok is not owned by China. So you can go on with that stuff. President Trump is tough on China. He always has been, always.
Yeah, he's been tough on China, and you know it.
Yeah. So.
Conscience endorsed Donald Trump in this campain. But let me.
Oh, good for you.
Who cares?
They asked President Trump what he thought about that. He said he could care less. And that's the way I feel. I'm sure the way you feel, John.
Yeah, I couldn't
who
care
could care less, So moving on, John. This story has been up and down in the last couple of days here. So it started out with, Laura Trump announcing that RNC will hire Scott Presler to lead its legal ballot harvesting. But then it kind of changed that now he's not going to be hired by the RNC, but that he will be working with the RNC to help their get out the vote initiatives. So I don't know. It's
Here's
very
the thing.
strange
That guy,
what's
I
going
think
on here.
they were, they had complaints. At first they were going to hire him. It looks like they were going to hire him. I don't know if that's as an outside consultant or what they meant, right?
Yeah.
Then you had people complaining about it. But here's the thing. Scott Presler works to get out the vote.
Yeah.
Right? That he works to get out the vote. So, get the people who are good at the job.
Yeah.
Ronna McDaniel, if you ever want flowers, if you want to open up a flower shop, you go to Ronna McDaniel, right? You go to her, you get advice on how to open up a flower shop. If you want to get votes, get out the vote, then get people who have registered Americans all throughout the United States. Yeah. Scott Presler's that guy. He does that.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand why they would even hesitate to hire him or whatever. Put him on board, get him in his job, let his actions do the talking, and he'll, he's not going to surprise anybody.
Conservatives know that Scott Presler is very good at what he does, all right? And he reaches out to groups that are not traditionally warm to Republicans or conservatives. And I'm talking about the gay community. And Scott Presler is a gay man. He reads gays for Trump. And, I don't see why they wouldn't want to hire him.
You're talking about expanding the base, right?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Have like a black person do the Latinos for Trump? No, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right? Expand the base. Get some Hispanics out there working Latinos like they did last time. Latinos for Trump was huge. That was a huge movement, right?
Absolutely.
So get the same thing. Blacks for Trump, Latinos for Trump. Get everybody. Involve everybody.
Yeah. And, Laura Trump and Michael Whatley have been doing a phenomenal job so far with the RNC. I've been getting texts left and right from them, yes. And they cut a lot of the staff there. They're doing a good job.
Yeah, they cut a gigantic. I think it was 30%.
It's promising
or something.
to see this. So.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So President Trump is suing ABC and George Stephanopoulos for defamation after this interview. I don't know if you caught this interview. I'm sure some of you have, but watch this.
Very simple question.
And I answered it. You're shaming me for my political choices.
I'm asking you a question about why you endorse someone who's been found liable for rape.
It was not a criminal court.
It was a civil court. And by the way, she joked about the judgment and what she was going to do with all that money, and I find that offensive.
I'm asking you about...
All right, so let's rewind that a little bit.
Yep.
All right, so let's listen to old Georgie Poo one more time.
I'm asking you a question about why you endorse someone who's been found liable for rape.
Liable for rape,
yeah.
It was not a criminal court. It was a civil court.
It was a civil court.
And by the way, she joked about the judgment and what she was going to do with all that money, and I find that offensive.
I'm asking you
but
about
as
the man
a rape victim who's been shamed for years now because of her rape, you're trying to shame me again by asking me this political question.
You've repeated that again.
I think it's offensive. As a woman, I find it offensive. My political choices, I've endorsed the man that I believe is best for our country. It's not Joe Biden. And you looked at the dueling rallies yesterday in Georgia. Laken Riley's family was with Donald Trump. They weren't with Joe Biden. The same guy yesterday that apologized for calling her killer an illegal, who was an illegal. And here you are trying to shame a rape victim. I find it disgusting.
You keep saying I'm shaming you.
You are.
Listen to that. That is so important. You had Trump with the family of a young woman who was slain by an illegal immigrant running for president. On the other side, you have a guy who was apologizing not to the parents, not to the country, but to the illegals for using the phrase illegal, happening at the same time. Both of these guys are running for president. Do you really have to think that hard who you're going to vote for?
No. I mean, unbelievable.
It is.
How is the question asking about a presidential candidate who's
You're asking a rape victim.
And there's no question about that. And you courageously talked about that.
Because I've been raped. I think that's disgusting.
No, I'm questioning your political choices because you're supporting
me. You're
someone who's been found liable for rape. Actually, I'm not trying to.
You are. That's exactly.
You're not answering the question.
I think it's disgusting.
Well, you're welcome to say that, but you also have to answer the question. Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for rape?
I just answered your question.
What is the answer?
He was not found guilty in a criminal court of law. It was sexual abuse. It wasn't actually rape, by the way. And E. Jean Carroll joked about all the money she's going to get and made a mockery out of this case. And I think that's offensive. There's a reason why women don't come forward. And when you have someone who says that they're raped and they make a mockery out of this civil court judgment, it's offensive to other women. It makes it harder for other women to come forward when another woman has made a mockery of it.
You said women don't come forward.
So there you go. I mean, that's it right there. Stephanopoulos said it twice. He said, that he was found liable for rape, and he never was.
Yep. So I hope he wins that lawsuit. Yeah. I hope he gets the $484 billion that New York was suing him for.
Yeah, no doubt, because what will happen if Trump can't post that $454 million bond in his civil fraud case by Monday's deadline? And we already see, John, what's happening. They're going after his properties. So they're going after his properties.
They need to go to jail. Those two people need to go to jail.
Yeah.
What happened to justice in this world? My God.
Yeah. Letitia James will be free to start going after his properties, and she's already made the moves to start doing that. If he can't post this bond by Monday, he filed papers in an appeals court seeking to get out of having to post a bond because it's a massive bond. Nobody carries that amount of money around on them or just has it in liquid. It accrues $112,000 in interest daily. All right. He had approached over 30 firms to secure the bond to no avail, and he's facing insurmountable difficulties getting the financial backing. That's what his attorney said in the filing. Engoron ordered the hefty judgment against him in February after that 3-month trial in which the AG's office argued that Trump exaggerated his net worth by billions a year on financial statements to get better loan and insurance terms, which is complete crap. My question is this, John, and I said this earlier when we were talking. Why haven't any of the Republican millionaires and billionaires that are here in America that see this travesty of justice happening, why haven't they come forward to help President Trump? Why? I just don't get it. I don't understand.
They should have helped him. He should have. There's plenty of money out there. They could have raised it, and they need to raise the money for him. But really, they need to raise the money for his legal fees so that they continue fighting this. And I really liked it was Jimmy Patronis who was saying that they wanted to put up $5 million for a weaponized government. I would have loved to have been able to tap for that when the school district was being weaponized against me.
Yeah.
Right? And I would have loved to be able to tap into that money and say, listen, the government is weaponized against me by a whole bunch of corrupt politicians and bureaucrats. Let me tap in this money, get a lawyer, and sue the pants off of them. Well, Trump should be able to dip into that also, get $5 million because the country was weaponized against him.
Yeah, you see what they're doing, John. They're going after him every which way they can. They want to financially break this man. Please, if you can, help President Trump out. Millionaires and billionaires across America, you need to step up because this could be you next.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think that Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, laid it out. This is a bad look. Other nations across the world are watching this and seeing what's happening. And it's just terrible. It's such a shame, such a travesty of justice, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so before we move on to Across the Nation, we're going to play this important commercial message from President Trump.
Thousands of U.S. citizens, Americans, trapped in Afghanistan.
There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of an embassy of the United States from Afghanistan.
Airport in Kabul. At the U.S. Embassy that has now been evacuated.
Embassy in Kabul evacuated. The jihadists have taken over the Afghani presidential palace. We have abandoned the American embassy in Kabul.
And the president is hiding on vacation. Then he comes back, does a statement for 20 minutes, doesn't take any questions afterwards, runs off the stage, goes back on vacation, only to return from vacation.
So the Senate has just passed the $40 billion Ukraine aid bill. Joe Biden is expected to gleefully sign it very soon.
President Biden announcing an additional $375 million military aid package for Ukraine.
This news breaking. On the anniversary of 9/11, the Biden White House just struck a deal with Iran to do a prisoner swap and release $6 billion in frozen Iranian funds.
Fox News alert, Israel is at war. That's the declaration from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after Palestinian militants launched surprise rocket attacks from Gaza overnight.
What about getting people out?
Guys, we got
people evacuated.
The answer is we're going to get people out, but I'm not going to go into any detail with you now.
All right, we got to wrap up, guys. We got to wrap it up.
So,
man, what a great ad. Foolish, incompetent, weak. Yeah, that's exactly what he's... Here's the funny thing.
Message. It's all facts.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's his record. That is his record, right? And those three descriptors are exactly what he's been. But have you noticed how they gave... This is in the news. It wasn't even worth putting on the show necessarily, the whole story. But his new shoes...
Yeah.
You see his new shoes? So, look, the media made fun. They were making fun of Ron DeSantis over the boots and stuff. And they were hammering about a stupid pair of boots that were meaningless. And look what they do. They let him get away with wearing old man shoes? Yeah. They're like Velcro. The president of the United States is wearing Velcro shoes so that he doesn't fall down.
With extra traction and
I'm not making fun of him because he's old. I'm making fun of him because he's the president of the United States. Is that what we want? No. Somebody who has to wear special shoes with Velcro? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, John. We'll keep it in New York to start off. And New Yorkers are railing on losing the battle against crime after Governor Hochul dispatches the National Guard.
Yeah, and, she's just this governor is like the worst. She's the worst. What is it with these? These people are incredible. How is it that you surrender your state to thugs? Yeah. Right? To thugs and criminals. And frauds. They're the frauds. They're surrendering. They can't surrender to themselves. They're the frauds. But they're surrendering their states to criminals. California too. Wow, man, it's just crazy.
Yeah, we're old enough, both of us, to remember when New York was on hard times before, and then they elected Rudy Giuliani. He came in and cleaned it up. He made it a safe place for the people that live there again. And now look at it. It's worse than ever. Watch this.
There's
creepy things that happen. But I don't know. I think as a female in New York City anyway, you just sort of have your head on a swivel.
It's not safe.
How nice.
So it used to be better. It's going through a hard time, but hopefully it's going to get better. But yeah, we have seen.
Yeah, keep voting the way that you
The
do.
homeless population
Keep
is
voting the way that you do. Let's see if it gets
There's a lot
better.
of substance abuse, and it seems like there's a lot of violence.
Imagine the smell in that
upticking.
corridor.
Sometimes I go for an Uber if it's been a late night instead.
We need jobs in this country, so they should hire more officers, I would say.
It's my first time in New York. I'm taking subway for the
Look
first
at the
time.
National Guard
and
standing
I'm going
behind him.
towards the World Trade Center.
It's pretty safe. I just have to be aware all the time. You know what I mean?
It's pretty safe. I just have to be aware all the time.
You have a lot of
Well, you should live your life that way, but
a lot of cheap shots. I don't know if that's it's very sporadic attacks I've seen, witnessed.
A lot of sporadic attacks I've seen witnessed, he said. Crazy.
And
if you're witnessing a whole bunch of sporadic attacks, that's not a safe place.
I mean, look at that, John. It's like a police state.
Yeah, exactly. Like in Nicaragua, I remember when I was 15 years old. I went to Nicaragua, right?
Yeah.
So I'm totally aware, totally conscious. I was 15 years old. I'm walking down the street, and you know what all the policemen have there? AK-47s. And I was like, damn, these guys are walking around with AK-47s. Everybody's got an AK-47, right? It was like an Oprah giveaway. Everybody had an AK-47. I was like, where's my AK-47? Everybody had them all over. Everybody's walking around. A police state. That's exactly what it was, a police state. And now that's what New York looks like.
Unbelievable. It's just...
I mean, California looks like Escape from California, like Escape from Los Angeles. New York, I mean, I guess New York's a the new slogan for New York should be, we're not as bad as California.
Yeah, that'd be a good slogan.
God, what a shame.
No, the FDNY fire commissioner jeered during parade after promising to hunt down the booing firefighters. And what happened was they had a firefighter ceremony in New York City. Letitia James, came and she was speaking at this event, and she got booed by a bunch of the firefighters. They're upset about that, and they vowed to hunt them down and find them. So
how can the firefighters be upset about firefighters booing somebody who doesn't like firefighters or first responders in general? I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
Come on. And then for the firefighting community, the leadership of the firefighters to come and chase down their own fire guys? No. Come on.
It's sad. Watch this.
You suck! You suck! Firefighters are the hunters! The firefighters are the hunters! New York's bravest! Kavanaugh gotta go! Kavanaugh gotta go! Here's our heroes right here! Yeah! You wanna play? You wanna play? Let's play!
Obviously, you can tell that they feel the same way.
Yeah, the firefighters, of course, they're with Trump. I mean, the unions may not be, because the unions got to play the political game, which is unfortunate. But I mean, if they just took a vote, you know who they'd go with.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's take it over to Colorado. Colorado could become the first state to build separate prison units for transgender felons, John.
Oh my gosh. How in the world is a state government going to waste the money to build a prison specifically for somebody who's insane? I thought those were called insane asylums, and what they did was they got rid of them.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So now they're going to build a new insane asylum?
Now when we need them more than ever, you know. These are the 4 individuals, lovely people that they are building this for. They're the ones who called for this to happen. They're poised to become the first one with segregated holding cells for transgender women in prison if a judge signs off on it. After a class action lawsuit was filed by several transgender inmates in 2019, these are the Colorado Department of Corrections alleging discrimination, harassment, and assault. A judge is scheduled to rule on a consent decree that would bring further changes, including surgical sex changes and hormone treatment, to the state's penitentiary. That's crazy. The consent decree, a court-ordered settlement in a legal dispute, would also require all trans women currently or previously in CDOC to receive a $2.1 million payout, depending on the severity of the alleged assault, discrimination, and harassment while in prison. Rewards could range from $1,000 to $10,000 per plaintiff, John. Yeah, so that's what's going on in Colorado. And
Craziness.
Yeah.
Next story.
All right.
I'm not even going to get into it. You know, that's crazy. Look at those pictures. My God, look at those pictures. Jeez.
Yeah, this is yeah.
Yeah. You're going to build a new prison for those people.
So Tyson Foods, John, they are hoping to hire thousands of illegal immigrants for manufacturing jobs. The massive hiring push comes at the same time that Tyson is shuttering multiple plants in places like Iowa and Arkansas. Watch this video.
Laying off 1,200 workers after closing its pork factory in Perry, Iowa, only later to announce 52,000 jobs for migrants.
The company's excuse, migrants are getting the jobs that Americans don't want. A human resources executive for the company telling Bloomberg the migrants have been, quote, very loyal. They've been uprooted, and what they want is stability. What they want is a sense of belonging.
Let's bring in Fox and Friends Weekend co-host Pete Hegseth. Pete, good to see you. Yes. But again, lower wages, taking American jobs. This was the reason why Democrats were opposed to illegal immigration 10, 15, 25 years ago. But here it plays out. This costs Americans a lot.
That's true. It was also the reason why the Chamber of Commerce crowd of the Republican Party was so resistant to Donald Trump back in 2015, 2016, dependent on importing cheap labor. He said, we're going to build that wall. We're going to stop this. I'm going to put Americans first. Wages will rise as a result. And now you've got an inversion of that with the Democrat Party saying, come on in. And then we've heard glimpses of it, right? When Nancy Pelosi said, who else is going to pick our crops, right? I mean, that's their mindset. And the businesses are happy to do it when there's no e-verifier, there's no consequences. And so cheaper labor for this business to produce a product. And it's not an easy job. You know, people that need those jobs, they're dirty, they're tough, but Americans should have the first shot, and they should have a good shot at a good wage.
And it's so dismissive, the language that they use, that Americans don't want these jobs. Really?
Americans had these jobs.
Right.
They lost them.
Correct.
Exactly.
And if you thought about paying, if Americans are doing the jobs, they're going to raise the wages for the jobs too. That's all good for everybody.
Yeah. Shifting gears now to this.
No, I mean, there's how many tens of thousands of migrant jobs? No wonder they want the border open. They want cheap jobs. We were talking earlier, right, about this. Here's the thing. Bernie Sanders was talking about a 32-hour work week, right? And then he said all the money is going to the top 1%, right? There's no more money going here. It's a livable wage. And we were talking about this with speeding tickets, do not invite the government into your life because you will regret it. Do not invite the government into your life. That's what this is, right? Because Bernie Sanders is coming to your life now saying 32 hours. That's the work week. And I know that sounds great, but nothing comes at free, and you pay for everything they do. Everything that they do as a consequence of you inviting them into your life has a cost, and that cost is brought to you. The CEO is still going to be rich, The CEO is going to make his millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's the worker who pays. You pay no matter what. You either pay as a consumer because now that chicken is $100 or it's going to be 50 cents and you're going to pay to be poisoned by Tyson. Yeah. Right? One or the other. But in the end, you're the one that pays. You keep your right to negotiate your income with the employer. That is a super important right. You don't need anybody to come and say, you know what, the government says that you owe me $15 an hour. Then what happens? All those chicken labor jobs are $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't work there, and then they're like, well, $15 an hour, who wants a job here? 1 or 2 people may come. Okay, well, that's not working. $20 an hour, who wants $20 an hour? Okay, 2 more people come. But we need 50. Right? So what do they do next? They're like, okay, $100,000 a year. Who wants to come and cut chicken, process chicken? Okay, now you got a whole bunch of people making $100,000 at Tyson processing chickens. But if the government comes in, what they do is they destroy that. And if you want to make 150 instead of 100 by working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours, now you make it an impossibility. Why? Because the government got involved and it's going to tell that labor, the management, you have to do it this way. You have to do it this way. Well, it ties their hands. Now they can't use their creativity. Don't get me wrong. We've gone past the point of corporatism where the corporations are just juicing the population of the United States. That's why we're mad. That's why we want Trump, right? Trump is actually going to tell us the truth. You have special interests. These companies, they pay a lobbyist. The lobbyists go to Bernie Sanders. The lobbyists and Bernie Sanders come up with agreement. He's like, 32-hour work week. Americans are dumb. They'll love this. Right? And then they passed a law. Yeah. And in that law, it says that you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. And who benefits? The lobbyist who gets paid by Tyson, who pays off Bernie Sanders, and they're like this trifecta of money that just goes back and forth amongst themselves, using the government as a vehicle. And the American worker gets screwed. Don't surrender your rights to the government or to a corporation. You don't surrender your rights. You take it upon yourself. That's why you have to be educated. That's why you have to have lawyers. That's why you have to have doctors, so that you can easily go and decide, you know what? I'm not a lawyer. I'm going to go get Tom. Tom is an awesome lawyer. He's the best lawyer. Tom, I want you to go and you sue these companies. You fight for, you do whatever. And that's how it works. And you create an economy that works for everyone like that. There's got to be checks and balances. The government is not a check and balance. No. The government is a yoke. And you don't want a yoke around your neck.
You know, when you go grocery shopping this week or next week or whenever you go grocery shopping, just keep in mind what Tyson Chicken is doing right now to thousands of Americans that are losing their jobs, and they're going to give them to illegal immigrants. Just keep that in mind.
That shouldn't be here.
Yep. That's it, John.
Woo! Well, it's 8:14. I think I don't know what time we got. So what's
1
our
hour
time?
and 8 minutes.
Oh, okay. Good night. Have a great night. God bless you. We love you. Thank you for watching. Please like and share the show. On behalf of School Board Member Jon Arguello and my great friend here, Citizen Tom Lord, have a great night. We'll see you next week.